5. All right, this is Daf Yomi in motion, number 825. Today we're going to learn Daf Kuf Hey in Metzia, and we're going to be speaking about, continue to speak about the second hamshich of the Indian of Mekabel Soda Mechaveiro. And we spoke about we saw there's two ways of being Mekabel Soda, either through Chakirus or through Arisus. Either he's a person who's a sharecropper or he's renting the field. If he's renting the field, it's usually a fixed price of rent, how much he pays the Bala Karka. And if he's a sharecropper, usually the sharecropper gets more of a percentage from the produce, from the profits, than the Bala Karka. And Gemara begins. More starts on Daf Kuf Dalet Amid base. Bottom line. Omar Rava. Here Rava is going to be giving an Eitz Taiva in regards to the Indian of an Iska, when a person who has goods, schayra, wants to give it over to a person like a shliach to do the business for him. He gives over his goods in a place where the goods are sold cheaply. He wants the person to take it to a place where the goods are sold expensive, more at a higher price, sell them, and come back with a profit, and they'll split the profit. The way we learned this already, that the shliach, he takes on half responsibility for half of the value of the goods, half the value of the schayra, and on what he takes responsibility for, that becomes a milva for him, because every milva there's full responsibility to return it. So too, what he's responsible for the loss of it, for the oinsim, the possibility of losing it on the way, something happening to it. So that's like a milva by him. And the other part, which he's not responsible for, and the owner of the schayra is responsible. That's like a pikadon by him, that he has the DNA of shmira. Chiyuv maba or shomer pikadon, whether he's a shomer chinam maybe or shomer sacher. So the din is that when a person is Isaac in an iska like this, so we're saying that the loss is split equally by both of them, even on both parts, even on the part which is a milva or on the part which is a pikadon. If there's any loss in the business deals, so they both split those losses. And on the part which is a pikadon, so also the profits are not split equally. The person who's a shliach has to take some profit on the part which is pikadon, because if he doesn't, that means he'll be working for he'll be toreach to make a profit on the part which is a pikadon, and in the other part that he has responsibility for is a milva. It would be like ribis. It would be michzek ribis. Why is he working toreach to make money for the bala schayra when he it would look that he's doing that for free only because he's has this loan given to him. Therefore, he has to have some percentage of the part which is because of the profits of that also, so that it's understood that he's working to sell that, and to mishtadel with that in order to make money for himself. But the percentage is usually, so it works out usually that the loss is split evenly, but the gains in deals like this are usually 2/3 to the shliach and 1/3 to the bala schayra. So here Rav is giving us an eitzah because here, for example, it's one business deal, but it's because it's broken up like this that the responsibility of the shliach, he's responsible for half, and the Baal HaSchayra is responsible for half. So it sometimes can be written in the form of two shtaros. And if that's going to be written in the form of two shtaros, so that would be disadvantageous for the person, the Baal HaSchayra, which is like the Malva in this case, because that would mean that he, the part, which is like a milva, for example, let's say on the part which is a milva, there's loss of 5 dinarim. Let's say the whole deal is worth 100 more. Amana, which is like 100 dinarim. So if there's a loss of 5 dinarim on one half, like the part which is a milva, and on the other part there's a gain, he sells it, he makes money on that part. So then what will happen if there's two shtaros? So they'll end up on the part which was a loss. They have to split loss, so they'll split that. That means that the Baal HaSchayra will split. He'll have to take part of the loss, 2.5 dinarim of loss. And on the part which is a pikadon, that's profit. They gain 15 dinarim. That is not split equally. So the Baal who's like the loiva, the shliach, would get 2/3 of that. He would get 10 dinarim, and the Baal HaPikadon, the one who, the original owner of the schayr, would get only 5 dinarim. And then you would subtract the fact that he took a loss on the other 5 dinarim. He took a 2.5 dinarim loss. He would end up with that he profited 2.5 dinarim on the whole deal. Whereas if there was only, if there was two, that's if there was 2 shtaros written. But let's say it's this deal with one written into 1 shtar. So then the loss, the profit, which would be 15, and the loss, which is 5, we would just subtract the loss from the profit, and would end up with 10 dinarim. And then on that, they split the profit. They don't split it, but they divide it according to their percentages. The shliach would get, the Malva, who was the original owner of the schayr, would get 1/3 of 10, which is 3.3 dinarim. So he would be making more money if there was 1 shtar than when there's 2 stars. So that's an eitzah tova, that when there's one business deal, that 1 shtar should be written out, even though that it is mechulak to a degree, because the shliach is like, it's like a milva for him, and the other part is like a pikadon. It shouldn't be written out into 2 stars. And by writing it into 1 star, it'll be the malva will make more money. True, the loiva would have made more money the other way, but since it's 1 iska, it's like should keep that as 1 star. And then in the case we'll see in a second, when you have 2 iskaot, if there was, then it'll be better to have 2 shtaros, because then it'll be better for the shliach. And then if there was only 1 shtar, which would have been better for the malva. But Rav's eitzah is to keep, whenever there's 1 iska, she'll keep 1 shtar. And when there's 2 iskot, keep 2 shtaros. That's his eitzah. So the one says, Omar Rava, chada iska v'trei shtare peseda de malva. When you have it like that, when it's 1 iska and 2 stars, the malva will lose out from what he would have, if there was 1 star, he would have done better off, made more profit. And if there's trei iske, if there's 2 iskot, so v'chad star, but there's only 1 star written on both of them, so then save the loiva. The loiva will lose out, because since it's 1 star, they'll just subtract the loss from the gain, and then they'll divide, and the malva will end up with more. Omar Rava, Hayman de Kabel Iska min Chabre. This person, he was miskabel a deal to make money from a Baal Schayra, the one who gave him over Schayra. He took the Schayra, but he lost money on it. He lost meaning he was losing part of the capital also, part of the equity. So the proceed, Torach v'malia, lo dia. So he worked hard and he made more money. He sold more schleira and he made back at least the capital, maybe a little bit of profit. Lo odaya. He didn't tell about schleira that he had a loss and that he then made it back. He just came back with a little bit more profit. So in that case, when he came back, he wanted to maybe have it split up. Maybe he wanted the owner to split the loss with him, the original loss, so that it would end. He'd make the shliach would end up with more money if the Baal would first split the loss and then they would split the gain. So lo matzi omar le dori my behodai. You can't tell him, oh, the first loss that I had, I want you to split it with me. The profits afterwards. You can't tell him that because the Baal Schleiter has a tie in the back. Usually